in a little closer if you want, so you can. I'm retired from Waldameer. I started in 1962 doing buildings in here, so if you want to figure that out, it's over 4 years. I'm proud I remembered how to shut the sound off in here, okay? It's been hard to talk about. I did have the privilege of working with Bill Tracy side by side here. He probably came here, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 trips. New Jersey, you guys do all that. So. How many are here for the first time? Anybody? You folks for the first time? You did make it today. Well, there's somebody else I was talking to down there yesterday. So, yeah, so the interesting thing about Bill Tracy, he had Mr. Nelson went to a convention and met him there, I think is how that goes. And so he was interested in the Whacky shop, putting in this ride. So Bill Tracy gave us the dimensions of the building that we needed. Now there was no drawing for this building, it was a model. I told some of you guys that before, I think. It was like a dollhouse cutout with the top off, and that was all built 3/8 inch to the foot. So that's how we had to do the dimensions in this ride. The barrel that's in there, he had a toilet paper, center of a toilet paper thing was the tube for the barrel. All the ramps and everything was carved out of foam. Then he had little 1/4-inch plywood partitions in the wall. So it was very interesting to see how he made that model. I tried to get him to leave that model here, but he wouldn't do it. So we did get the picture of the front that was left here, and we had that in the office. Bill Tracy was smart in a lot of his gags, very smart, but some of his mechanical talent was not too good. A lot of things didn't hold up mechanically. We had to do some other things inside to make things last. One thing on top, I'm sure you all realize that's a face up there. You know the eyes. The sign is the mouth. The brown on the side is the sideburns. And the red and green, I think it is, in the middle would be the nose. So that does represent a face. And I see some of you folks have that on your logo for your the A and the F. So that's one thing Bill didn't build for the weather. That was all not real good weatherproof. It was up there about maybe 4 years. And the red shingles that's on the roof was on plywood. And we know that was never going to hold up. So soon after that, we took all of that down. I had it all laying out here in the midway. And we rebuilt all that. The cupolas and the small stuff we took to the shop and rebuilt that inside. But I redid that all in treated wood, treated plywood. And when we put it back up, I put shingles, real shingles underneath those red shingles so it'll water shed.
Oh, nice.
So the whole thing is waterproof up there. If you notice, might be too close, on top of those cupolas and those side sections, there's hooks, eye hooks, where I made it so we could pick it off there with a crane. And that's how we put it back together. So all that can be lifted off there with a crane, individual pieces and so on. So sometime you're out back far enough, you can see the hooks on some of the tops of the roofs. Other than that, I guess that's pretty much that for up there. Like I said, Bill did give us a dimension of the building we needed to do and what we needed to have here, and that's what we have. Inside, a lot of his gags came, they built them in New Jersey and then brought them here. And then we put them together inside. And if you remember, I told you before, on the barrel, he said, oh, go ahead and put the doors in, the barrel will fit. That was wrong. So we got the barrel here, and we had to split the barrel down the middle to get it through the doors. And then we reassembled it in there on the where it spins. The track is all low voltage. It's on 24 volt. No electric shock on that. It increases in the cars through a transformer that goes to 120 volt into a motor that runs a gearbox. So that's how the cars are powered. There's about 409 feet of track in this ride, and it takes about 2 minutes to go through it. The cars are still original. They've been painted and freshened up this year, and they look nice. But there's 9 cars that come with it. Try to run 7 cars at one time. If you run 8 cars on this ride, it would really keep the operator humping. And of course, we have an extra car for spare if one breaks down. There's 4 zones on the switch where the operator controls it. 1, 2, 3, 4 switches. And number 1 is right up here by the operator. He can advance a car up there to load and stop it when he wants to. Number 2 switch is in here, which advances the car up to the number 1 area. And then number 3 is down there, and number 4 is in the curve. And we just added, a few years ago, they just added a number 5 switch, because if people are slow getting out of the car, they don't realize there's another car coming behind them. We don't want to bump those cars. And so this way the operator can stop that car for a few moments there until these people get out of the car. And sometimes they're, I think they think they're going to get out where they got in, and that doesn't work that way. So, but that's kind of how that setup runs. Handicap access is right here. They go in right here, and the operator has control of that car, so it doesn't move while the person's getting in and out of it. And then once the cars go through, then he can stop the cars out here to help that person get in and out, because it takes more time. We're going to go through it, and I'll just describe some things inside. But any questions out here while go ahead.
Since you worked with Bill Tracy, is it true that he left a little Easter egg in each of his haunts, his attractions?
I never heard that.
The fickle finger.
What?
Paul told me.
Could be.
Paul said he put the fickle finger in each of his attractions. And from what Paul said was, he knew that in advance and he forbid him from doing it here or there. However, he forgot that they were doing props for the train.
Yeah.
So you won't find it here, but if you see pictures of the other rides, you may occasionally find that.
Yeah. There might have been one on the roof of here which we took off.
I heard the story that he always left something of himself behind in the rides. The story that I've heard was like a kind of like part in the den, the girl on the pole has the exposed breast.
Which we covered up.
Yeah, which has been covered.
They were anatomically correct from the ones I've seen and worked on. Yeah.
But he left those beer bottles in the Whacky shack or something?
Well,
in the barroom scene in here, some of those whiskey bottles were, the story says some of those were his.
Could have been. We have a bar scene that came from New Jersey, and the bottles were all glued to the bar. So that could be. And, yeah. But Bill was very talented. I think we all know that he worked in the department store displays and stuff. Had good access to mannequins and all that stuff. Yeah. But he had a lot of good ideas. I mean, the ideas he had were terrific, and like along the illusion type idea. And so, but it was interesting working with him, and I'm just sorry I didn't take more pictures with him, because we spent a lot of time together here with him on this ride. And the Pirates Cove, he had a drawing for that, and Randy has that on a display over the table over there. We did have a blueprint for that ride, or that walkthrough, but we had to place everything in the building where it goes, and also going by. Had to display everything in the building, or set it where it was going to go, and then we built the ramps to it, because you couldn't get nothing back in there once you started building walls and stuff. A sheet of plywood in there had to be put on while you were building that area, because you couldn't get back in there with a sheet of plywood. That sort of thing. Any other questions?
Did the pyro on top come over to New Jersey?
Yeah. Yep. He was in 2 pieces. He splits at his waist. Some clips there you can see. Yeah, the people that drove that up here, they had a lot of fun with that on the highway. 'Cause everybody, when there was an accident caused, people looking at that while they go by, you know. So, but yes,
Where's the sign right now?
I think it's being repaired. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of wood rot on it, so we took it down to fix it. We just didn't get it done in time for you.
Sign is nice how he designed it. It has a lot of, every 6 inches there's a light. Of course, that's a penetration through wood. And I think they use that signboard material and so on. It is weatherproof, but a lot of maintenance on a building like this, you can understand it. And, yeah, I had it down a few times when I was still here. And so I kind of retired about 4 years ago, I guess. And been here a long time, and people says, "Do you miss the place?" And I said, "Sure, I miss the place." I says, "It was my life, you know." And Waldameer's people and Steve and Mr. Nelson are excellent to work for. And they've treated me very well, and my family very good. Still, I have a grandson working here now, and so I have a real family party. Okay. So, any
Thank
other
you for
questions
coming back
while we're
for
out here?
today, Perry.
What about the cars?
Yeah.
I guess like you told me before about the counterweights and the zip gun thing.
Yeah. When the cars come, the cars were built by somebody else with Bill Tracy. He was working.
Bradley and Kay.
What is it?
Bradley and Kay.
Is that who it was? When cars come in, first of all, the dip, you can see that seam in the blue line there, the lower seam there, that was the original dip that we built. It was pretty steep.
Oh.
And what it was doing was snapping your neck and, coming back up too quick. So we changed that to what it is now. I mean, it was a good idea, but this wasn't practical, but that's what he had designed into the ride. Then the cars were light on the front. You can see how short wheelbase they are, so it's critical that they have the balance. So we added a 50-pound weight in the front of them. That's what that black bar is. That's all lead in that weight. So there's 50 pound there to keep the front end from bouncing. The other thing, you can see how thick the back cushion is. There was no cushions in those at all. That was just fiberglass. So we added the cushion to push your body more forward in the car, in the seat, to get the weight more to the dolly wheels underneath. There's a little set of dolly wheels under there, and we have a couple turned up in the back you can look at afterward that keep it on the track. The pads are there that get the power, and it goes through into the transformer and so on. So there's a lot of stuff going on under that car. The other thing was not on this ride was a brake. We have 2 hills in here that we have to slow the car down. And so Tracy didn't have a brake on those cars. So we put a brake pad on them, so it's still on there. It slides on a steel plate going down these hills because you can't have the car running away with it. So, like I said, it takes about 2 minutes to go through this ride. And it doesn't really matter per se how the car is loaded, heavy or light or whatever. It still is on its own power, so it doesn't sink that way. Any other questions? Probably got a lot of them. Everything inside is pretty much original. There's a few changes we made in here, which I can describe when we go through there a little bit. But we try to keep everything original. The paint on this it's not original, but we try to keep the same color scheme, okay? Keep it matched. These boards in here underneath the roof area here has never been painted, to my knowledge. I've never done it. So those were the way it was. Everything else has been redone. Even these panels, these big panels, have all been treated plywood and redone so the weather's stored. Anything else? I think I don't know, I haven't been here for a few years. When I kind of retired, I think we were running about 160,000 people through this ride, something like that. Because with the new BAM systems, you can record how many people ride it. And so we have a pretty good... Now I know a big coaster ride and all the big rides, that's not a lot of people, but I think for this Whacky Shack, that's a lot of people. And I know there's 3 generations that still ride it, probably. Ones that are still living, and the ones that are here now, and the grandkids. Because I've had people come up to me and say, "Well, I rode that when I was a little girl," you know, or now they're kids and then their grandkids. So it's definitely a family attraction. They like it. So. Anything else? Steve, got anything? No. Okay, let's try to go through it. Try to explain some things. Watch where you walk. There's, of course, the track goes all the way through the ride. There's ramps that tip the car in certain areas. I'll explain a little bit inside. So there's a lot of stuff on the floor to deal with. The tilted room, I'll elaborate on that in a minute. That was probably the hardest part of this ride, is building the tilted room. It's 60 inches out of plumb. In other words, the high point is 60 inches down to 0. And we had to put clamp extensions on step ladders so they wouldn't tip over while we're putting the ceiling and stuff. So it was interesting. To get the walls perpendicular to the floor, we just used a square. We couldn't use a level, okay? So that was kind of interesting. We did one in here, and we have one in the power stove too. So, some of the boards and stuff that's on the wall in the tilted room, which we'll look at in there, Tracy actually held them in place, and we screwed them on the wall. That's where you want them. So those are very original. And as you'll notice, everything is kind of tipping because the room's tipping. Okay. So, the drunk scene we have in there, where's Randy? He's here somewhere.
Randy's back here.
Randy rebuilt the drunk scene in there. He laid in there for years without any screen in front of it. And one day I went in and closed the ride up and realized we had a problem. They got out of the car and threw him out in the middle of the floor. And the cars banged him up. So Randy took him home one whole winter. He worked on it, didn't you?
Yeah, you brought him over in January.
Yeah. And rebuilt the guy in the drunk scene in there.
Yeah,
So,
I've got the photos on the photo boards over at the pavilion. And you can see the progress from like what I started with and then the end result. So he was like in 14 different pieces. So
You sent him to rehab.
after that happened, then we had to put a screen up. So, you know, there's always somebody that's got to mess it up for everything. It was nice because you could see in the black light and so on. Randy does a lot of work on these rides. He paints and does a lot of things in the spring to get them ready to go, both the Cove and here. I really appreciate that. Okay, well, let's get ready to go inside. Watch your footing.
We're going to divide everybody up into 2 groups, please.
yeah, that's fine.
Did everyone come? Like, should I have over there?
There's a couple people that are late.
That's one the cart's been around.
There was one I was expecting to be late, and I was afraid it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to have one of them in here so no one else.
We can show the suckers your friend.
Great.
Oh, sure. Okay. If
Oh, he's doing both of them?
Just want to mention all of this stuff on the wall. I kind of started that years ago. And it's stuff that I either found left in a car on the ride or found on the midway or something. Okay? So I started sticking it up here, and they kept it up here. But it's interesting that people, as you wait here for a second or two before they bounce the car in, so the kids especially, they like to look at this stuff and give them something to think about, I guess. The doorways are set up so one door opens, this door opens, the other door is still closed to keep the outside light from going into the ride. And when that door starts to open, then this door closes. So we have that on the outside doors. Going in and out. The ride is run on transformers. There's a 15 kVA transformer in the workroom on this side. There's 2 5 kVA transformers on the ramp going to supply power to the rest of the ride on the other side. So Okay, let's start moving through here a little bit. This is what Tracy called the tilted corner. And on the right side of the track, the car, there's a ramp that tips the car, so you have that feeling you're tipping with the wall. Coming through the barrel, there's a ram on the right side of the track doing that. Gives you the feeling the car is tipping the way the barrel is turning. Then this wheel is turning the opposite direction and has a mirror in it. Kind of gives you the other way. The bridge we just walked across is the original. Tracy sent that to us the way it is. And we built the walls to fit the bridge where the car passes over the barrel. This door up here came out of a home that we tore down here in the park, and Mr. Nelson wanted to keep that in the park because it was the home was one of the original homes the original owners lived in. That door is 3 inches thick, and so we installed it up there. And while the ride's running, there's a door knocker that bangs on that like somebody's knocking on it. This ghost up here, we added that just to fill in that space. And we have a fan blowing on it to make his rope there move a little. The mirrors we're going to go by was Tracy's idea, because you can see the barrel, it's got stuff on the outside, but through the mirrors you come around, so it's kind of a double effect there. Yeah, this is the pass-through door to get the other part of the ride. So that's for maintenance only. Once in a while we might evacuate through here. I thought we got a camouflage pretty good there. Okay, the barrel's got gags on the outside. Randy's done a lot of work on this. And this is all done with black light. You can see the wheels that drive the barrel. In the middle is the gearbox, and it spins on 6 other wheels, 3 on the other side and 3 on this side. That's the barrel we had to split down the middle and then put back together. The barrel still has original paint in it. The rack order where you're watching to now. And then this is the gas that he made. This is Joe Bull, I guess you could say. And it pops up. And then there's a surge of air that comes on your head. When this discharges this cylinder here, then it shoots you on the head there. These spiders original. They haven't been painted or touched or anything done with them. That was Tracy.
These are common Tracy trick from Swan.
Yeah. Now, he didn't build the screens or nothing for this stuff. We had to do that once the thing was in place, but. Get by here. This ghost in the corner. Boy, we added this ghost in the corner, and that has a fan on it when the ride's completely turned on. And this, then over here where you hear the horn, this represents like a train coming at you, and this light will flash when you come around here on the car. So.
Dear God.
Watch your step.
Has that car ever probably not been back up still?
Just watch your step coming down the hill, guys.
It's a lake.
Yeah, right? Oh, there you are.
I get lost in town. Thank you.
I was in here one day, I think we had a new addition to the prop. Remember the snakes that were given out in some of the games?
Oh, yeah.
A blue snake was sitting at his hip, let's say.
Okay.
So he looked like he was more anatomically correct that day.
Yeah.
I don't know how somebody managed to get it there.
This is the brake. This is the brake right here that drags on the car.
Everybody, huh?
That's the brake?
Yeah, this steel plate we're standing by is a brake for the car coming down this hill. One comment I'll make in this area here, when we got, Tracy had these doors made when they came to us, but they were a full door. They covered this whole area, and one swung one way and one swung the other way. That was one of his mechanical failures because they didn't hold up with the cars coming down through here. So we had to split the doors. Now we made them out of steel, and we split them, and we still had the squares so they look like they're together. But we had to split them because of the maintenance on these doors. You can imagine the amount of cars that go through here, and so we got this pretty well toned down. In fact, this is the second set of doors made out of steel. He has a guy on well, it's supposed to represent an outhouse up here on the. And when you hear the heartbeat in here when the ride's running, he's holding his heart in his hand there, or in his rib cage, you can see it. But that's what that represents. Keep coming in, you guys. Everybody
Graceful.
Everybody coming around the corner? Just a couple of comments in this room. Is everybody in over there so you can hear me? This is what he called the strobe room, and it does have a strobe light that flashes in here. The painted walls, the stripes you see are still original. We haven't touched those. Where you're standing back here, there was knocker boards on the car, and we took those out a few years ago because of They were kind of shaking the car apart, okay? Good idea, but not real practical, because the car came up over that ramp and it shook the cars. Good gag, but not good for maintenance. So we took those out, and but then he had the mirror. We put the mirrors in for the added reflection, and this is that door we looked at. Good camouflage job from this side, huh? So that's how we get the other side. You guys know that?
That's some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, those are real gags there. That's my granddaughter. Wow.
Okay, we're going into some real crooked stuff on the floor, so be very careful here.
No, that's okay.
Just watch your footing. Keep coming in. There's enough room for everybody in here. How we doing? Everybody getting in?
So you're not wearing out the floor, you're wearing out the boards?
Yeah. Yeah, as the car tracks, we've had it all through the whole ride. I put masonite down so the tires would not wear out the plywood, because you can imagine what a job would be to replace plywood in this place. And but this was the room I was talking about. We had to jack up the step ladders to do the ceiling and stuff, because it's all on an angle. This is the drunk that Randy took home with him, rebuilt. Of course, we had to screen it. And there's water that comes out of this, represents a still, and the water comes out of that, and it's all done with blacklight when the ride's running. These shutters and windows on the walls, what I was saying outside, that Tracy actually held in place, and where he wanted them, then we anchored them to the wall, and then we come in and fit the boards in like he wanted them. So he was actually here with hands-on. That up in the corner there is eye, represents eyes, and they change colors and different things. We added that. That's not original. In here we have brakes coming out of this tilted. We have a brake here to slow the car down coming out of this tilted room, and so it's a lot of little ins and outs that people don't even know about. You have to do it to take care of some of those issues. Okay.
Why is there the rubber padding here on the floor in this part of the track?
So the cars get gripped there, so they don't spin, don't slip. A lot of that's been done from just experimental doing, because sometimes we'll see a car will track a little bit different, or some of this, I think, where's that? There's some of that rubber keeps them from sliding sideways when it comes around this curve. Okay? Watch your head, you got a low doorway here.
Now, the skeleton up here, he was originally the rest of the building was put back there.
Everybody coming through, keep coming through.
All right.
Still here on
Everybody come through there? This is the bar scene we were talking about outside. Probably some of these wine bottles, whatever they are, could have been Tracy's up here. But I think some of these beer cans our guys might have put in here. But this is original. That's the way Tracy sent that to us like that. This is, we call her Matilda here. She's supposed to be like a good-looking girl from the back, and then she turns around, she gets uglier. So that's all done on a photo eye that some of us are standing in front of. This, everybody, can you guys keep moving around the corner? This, we call it like a flying ghost. This moves whenever the ride's running. This is another one of them gags. Tracy said would fit in the doors, and he was wrong. You can see where we had to cut it to get it in here. Okay? That was all one piece. We're going to be entering the pool area, so don't fall off the bridge here, okay? This guy's on a photo cell, that's why he's jumping around. This is all original in here. The hippos Tracy made. The shark, we had a thing in the ballroom here, and they left that shark, and I fiberglassed it up and put him in here. But get a little added thing there. There's a waterfall that comes off of here. You'll see all this when the ride gets to running. So.
See different they had a cut.
Yeah, we might have cut that one too. It looks like it did. This is a lunging rat that comes forward when your car gets up here by. Okay, we're about ready to leave this area. Tracy had a waterfall here. Wasn't real practical because if it didn't shut off, it soaked the people. They didn't like that. It's a good gag, but this wasn't practical. Had on a photo eye. The photo eye would shut the water off. The camera would close up underneath of it, catch the drips. It's a good idea, but this didn't work out. This is the maintenance, one of the maintenance areas, and the compressor's in here. Yeah, we used every little nook and cranny we could to take the space. This truck behind me was added. That kind of gives you a little horn blow and so on at the end of the ride here. And that lights up. Randy, I think, just did that guy in the driver's seat there. And, so this has an air horn on it that blows, and like I say, you'll hear that when you go through the ride. So, and we're about ready to exit, I guess. Thank you.
There's a screw on the ground.
Yeah, we went to the junkyard, and the guy said, "I'll cut off whatever you want." So he did. He cut it with a saw. We picked it up. Still got everybody coming?
Yeah, it is.
While we're standing here, you can see the numbers on the floor. We do that so the operator knows where that, if a car's, that's switch number 5 on his control. So he knows where these cars are at. And especially on the advancing up to get on the car, he knows where 3 is. See, there's a 3 and a 2 and the 1 behind me, 3 and 4. The power comes through these flat plates on the floor. Is where the power comes through that. And I was going to say something else about it. Track is original, of course. The pads on the cars, and you can look at those when you get out back, braze those up because brass is softer than steel. You don't want to wear out this track. You can imagine what the job would be to rail. So the pads wear down, they braze up the pads and keep them built up to, plus brass is a good conductor for electric. The ride does, is everybody here, was it my group? The ride does have a fire alarm system in it, and if the fire alarm goes off, it shuts the ride down, turns on the emergency lights, and then there's a recorder that comes on to tell you to go to the nearest exit. By that time, we hope it better be, the ride operator better be ready to go in, and then maintenance better be on their way. They can call maintenance immediately, you know. So that's what it, so it is fire protected as far as getting people out. We have an exit door in the back. I didn't point that out. In that striped room, there's an exit door out that back, and there's an exit door over here at the end of the barrel to go out that way. Sometimes we evacuate if we have to over here and down this ladder. We don't like to do that. So, any questions out here? Go ahead.
Are those more maintenance sheds over here? This.
Yeah, that's storage over there on the end, and that they come in from the other side on that. That's they store a lot of paper products in there and food products for the concessions. I have a little door here where it goes into some of the transformers. Notice my camouflage again. So we have a little door here we have 2 5 kVA transformers in here, and this puts power to this side of the building more cars. It has an exhaust fan in it. That's what these are. There's one up high there and one here. When the ride's running and these fans are running, keeps these transformers cooler, keeps the air moving through them. What else? I'm going to go out back and look at the car while we're right here.
Oh, you noticed that?
Yep. We're still in.
Yeah, well, we ran into the last week.
Yeah.
We couldn't go back.
These are where they work on the cars. We do have this shelter, and any cars that's off the track, we try to keep out here. This is the little dolly that runs the car, runs the ride. This, in the places up front, I have a place where you can take a piece of track out. To get this on, you have to have that space to get this keeper in on the track. There's a wheel here that when it goes around the curves, it guides it. And of course, these wheels here carry the weight of the car. These are the pads I was mentioning are done in brass. The power goes into these, goes through this wire into the transformer, which is this square thing right here. That transfers into the motor, which is 120, which goes to the gearbox. And we have a tool, you guys that are machinists probably know, we have a tool we can put on these wheels and run these cars to get them all geared the same speed. And that's critical when you've got 7 cars running, okay? So, there's a lot going on under these cars, as you can see right here. This is the brake pad that slides on that piece of steel in there that slows them down. If you do change the wheels here, which they don't have to do very often, they may get a whole season on these wheels. When you add the wheel, new wheel here, you got to adjust the brake so it changes the height of the car. We have an on-off switch here that we can control the car out there. If we want to move a car and not have them all move, say on that front row, we can switch this switch and these cars will sit still and we'll just take the car out there we want, you know, on power. These wheels inside, you won't see it, there's a clutch, anti-rollback clutch. So if it would stop on a hill, it won't roll backwards, okay? That's very critical. You can't have a car going backwards down one of those hills in case the power fails. So this clutch holds these in place. It's very expensive. I think they're over $300 per one. So, but they're inside the hub on the inside of this wheel. We try to stay with 2 adults to a car, maybe 3 children, if they're not, you know, the average size child. 3, but no more than 3 in a car.
How do you install and remove a car from a crash?
Sorry?
How do you install and remove a car from a crash?
Good question. That's this tool right here. kind of designed this 100 years ago because it's impossible to carry this car in there and get it to the, and right on this curve there's a section of track we take out, about 14 inches long. This, when this car's down in position, this pin, this little nut right here, goes on that hole right there. And we carry it. One guy can do it. Take it like this, get the dolly up off the ground, the wheels will roll forward, and that's how we move it. Now, if they really get in trouble over there, remember you can't back these cars up, okay? Even manual. We have this. So we come up under the body at the back, goes in this slot here. This pivots with the weight on it. We pivot. Then we move the back around with this, okay? So there's not a whole lot of manual labor other than with these two tools right here. Like I say, we kind of designed that because we needed something to handle these cars. We have the hoist here. When I was doing this, I used the hoist a lot because it's just safer, and unless you got two guys here, they're heavy. To pick them up, pick them like they are, they're heavy. You need two guys. So I always use the hoist and you can roll that around. Any questions on that?
Those nylon wheels for your guide system there in the front.
Right here?
Yeah.
What's your question?
Are those nylon or?
It's hard plastic of some type, I'm not sure. We have a machine shop in the area that makes it.
Okay. 'Cause I have an original copy of like a parts catalog from Pretzel, and they showed a lot of their original wheels being nylon.
Yeah. That could be nylon, and it's very hard material, but it doesn't hurt the track. You don't wear it before the track. Yeah. So you don't want that track.
Oh no.
Yeah, they have a bearing in them. They machine those out. They're not cheap to make. I don't know what they pay for them here, but when they make them, they might make 500 to 1,000 at a time. Oh wow! Because once they set up, you know, they last a long time. I always kept a whole rack up in there, the shelves, you know, because, and then if we start to get low, which I don't know how many I went through when I was here, but they don't go very fast, you know, they don't wear out. But when we order them, we order enough so the machine company don't have to set up
The setup charges usually.
way them. We do date these wheels on the outside with a marker so you can read them, and then you know how long that wheel's been on the car.
This one says 315.
Yeah, this one says 6/14/16. So that wheel's been on there for that long.
Yeah.
The back wheels wear less than the front wheels, which is understandable because the front wheel is big enough, blunt enough, tracking.
So did you say you adjust the speed on them?
We set the speed, and then once you set it, it stays.
How do you do that?
Well, I didn't do it. Another guy in maintenance did it. He had a tool that we took him up out here. That's another thing I'll talk. We have a power source over there that we can run these cars out here on that low voltage. And that's what they have the jumper cables here to do with, so they can run the car out here upside down like it is, or like it is. So then, to your question, they have a tool that he put on the wheel and set the speed, okay? Now the speed's determined by the pulley on the motor with
Oh, it's one of those adjustable shields?
variable, what do you call them, variable speed pulleys?
Adjustable. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can, just by squeezing that, you
Okay.
can change
lock
the
it down.
speed.
Okay.
It'll be on this one up on the motor up here.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to see. I used to know the numbers they had. That 152 might be the speed on the meter that they put on it. I'm not sure. I haven't been here for 4 years now, so. But they have it all marked on these cars. Brake pads have to be replaced periodically. They do pretty good, but these look good here. And I suppose if you want to really think about it, it could take a guy by himself just to take care of this ride. You know, I kind of did a lot of it myself, but always grab somebody else. Maintenance here helps everyone. Even though we have had assignment, I had assignment on Friday, I had 7 rides. Then they added a second train, and I had 8 rides. So, but everybody jumps in and helps everybody else. Basic guys. This is an Armco building. When I come to the park, we were putting in these types of buildings. And Mr. Nelson bought a new games building. So the games building you see up that midway was the first job we did here in 1962-63 season. And I've been here in and out ever since. I was doing commercial buildings, still working from home. But these are the types of buildings that we were doing. When Tracy gave us the size building we needed, it was an expensive building. This and Butler were the 2 Cadillacs of the models back in the 60s. The wood that's on this, that's all cedar, and that comes painted from Tracy. And we added a canopy on the side. Of course, he didn't have nothing for queue lines or nothing like that, so we added this little extra thing here, and then we added a whole queue line on the other side. And then we expanded the queue line, you'll see it over on the other side, goes over toward the total world. And so, because this is a popular ride, and people line up. Tilton World used to set where this building is now.
Sorry.
It used to be a flying ride at County Lake out there. The thing you can guide it, that used to be here.
Seated throughout the ride with both feet flat on the floor. Never or I'll see that you lose your wristband, maybe with your arms still attached. I'll be watching to see that you behave. Thank you.